say, hey, this is yours. Maybe you blow them off the first 3, 4 times or whatever, and then eventually you say, forget it. I'm gonna just go ahead and pay it. It's just way too much to deal with. Do not agree to pay that account, because once you do, you basically say that yes, it's mine. I take responsibility for it. You don't want to do that. So do not pay it. I'm sure you have your own bills that you need to pay. So do not agree to pay and don't pay it. Do not acknowledge that the debt is yours. Oftentimes they get you on that where you say while you're on the phone with them, or you have some type of written communication, whether it's email or a letter, and basically you agree or acknowledge that about the debt, and that you say that it's yours. Once you do that, it's extremely hard to go back and pull that back. So do not acknowledge and say that the debt is yours. If somebody calls you or somebody sends you a letter, if you want to contact them, then you contact them saying, I don't know where this debt came from. I don't know who this is. And then what are you going to do? You're going to request information from them. You want to know all about the account, everything that they have with that account. And it doesn't matter if it's a collection agency or if it's the place itself. Sometimes parents will place the light bill or what have you in a child's name. So the kid could be 4 years old, the kid could be 16 years old, and they may place it in the child's name. And then let's say that they don't pay it, and it eventually goes to collections, or you move out and try to get your own place, and then you can't get electricity because you have an old bill there. And so now you've got to deal with that before you can get electricity. So since that does happen, unfortunately, you do not want to acknowledge the account at all. And what you want to do is to get all the documentation that you can from them, everything that they have. If there's anything that was signed, you want to know the dates that it started. You want to know what the pay history was on it. You want all of those things from them, and you have them send them to you ASAP before you decide at all if you're going to do anything with this account. Also, you're going to want to dispute the account. Now, in a situation like this, if it's a utility or something like that, it's perfectly fine to deal directly with them. Typically, when I say dispute an account, I want you to go through the credit bureau. If you got an account and you want to dispute it, I want you to go through the credit bureau, use them as your agent, if you will, use them as your attorney, make sure that they get everything for you. With this particular situation, you need to go ahead and contact them directly so you can get all of that information from them. When you get that information, you want to make sure you look at the dates that things started for them. You want to look at the address that's associated with it, because you may have never lived at that particular address. The dates are important that it starts, because like in the situation I just said, if it was your parents and you were 5 or 6 years old, you can't enter into a contract. If you're under 18, you cannot enter into a contract. You cannot get utilities in your name if you're under 18. So the date is very important. So you were born in 1990, and this particular account started in 1997. That is not yours. Same thing if you are a junior, or if you are the second or the third, or you might even be a senior and your son has something because he didn't put junior on his account. Look at the dates and look at the addresses. You may have never lived at that place. They may also have a phone number associated with it. That phone number could not be yours as well. So this is all the evidence that you will compile and collect, so you can fight this if you need to go ahead and fight it. And so sometimes they'll come back and say, hey, it was yours anyway. So if they come back and say, yes, this was yours, you are the person that needs to go ahead and pay this, you need to get all that paperwork. You need to be able to look at a signature. See if that signature matches yours at all, because maybe you did sign something for somebody. I doubt it, because you would definitely remember it. But if that signature doesn't match yours, if you had to go to court, if you had to try to prove it to anybody else, then that's going to be very important for you to have. So make them send you all the paperwork if they still insist that it's yours and that you need to pay. The last thing, and maybe the thing that you don't want to do, is you may have to make a claim for fraud. If all else fails, you might have to make a claim for fraud on your credit bureau. Now, when you do that, when you make that claim, and I believe you'll have to make that claim, you might have to make a police report or something of that nature. You don't want to get your mama or your cousin or whoever, your ex-boyfriend, or whoever it is, in trouble. You still might have to make that claim. So it's up to you. It's going to be you if you decide, hey, I know who this person is who did it, and, have them in trouble, or you say, I have no idea who this person that stole my identity basically is, and you make that claim for fraud. If you make that claim for fraud, then it may have to come off your credit report. It won't be that 30-day length because they're going to need to investigate. So it may be longer, could be up to 6 months. 6 months for them to go ahead and make that investigation for you, but you might have to make a claim for fraud, and so that's something that you will have to think about if you want to do that as well. And so above all, in anything I'm talking to you about, Tasha, and if you're in this situation as well, above all, do not pay that debt that you do not owe. Again, I'm sure you have other things that you can do with your money. If you don't owe it, do not pay it. Now, here's the caveat. Here's the caveat about that. So what if the debt is, say, $200? You believe that $200 is, a minimal, is nominal, it's not that big a deal, and you want to go ahead and pay that $200, it could be worth paying it. And I'm going to say this too. Never say that it was yours. If you would go ahead and agree to pay, and it's a small amount, first, you want them to reduce it in the first place. Every time you negotiate with somebody, you owe them some money, you need to ask for a reduction. You need to go ahead and negotiate that amount. So first, negotiate the amount. But only if they agree to remove it from your credit report. So that's the only way you're going to pay this at all, because it's not yours in the first place. And they've got to agree to remove it, and they got to agree to reduce the amount for you. Now, only you know what your time is worth. So I said $200. My time is worth more than $200. I might go ahead and pay it, but that's me. You might say it's not about the amount; it's more about the principle. So if it's more about the principle of the matter, then you go ahead and you continue fighting. You go ahead and you continue fighting, and you make sure that they get those things removed off your credit report. Getting those items pulled off your credit report will absolutely move your credit score up. Now, as soon as they come off, that does not mean your score is going to go up. Just like with this, the civil judgments and the liens, you might have to wait 30 to 45 days once it comes off to really see the reaction of the credit bureaus and your credit score. So I want to thank you so very much, Tasha from Georgia. Thank you for contacting me. I hope this answers your question. And anybody else out there that's having this particular issue, I hope it answers your question. Tasha, you are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. Thank you so very much for contacting me, and please continue to listen in and share this show. So everybody, if you have questions, the question of the day is only as good as you guys are. So send me your questions. You may become a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. 800 Credit Score Man at gmail.com. That's where you can contact me. 800 Credit Score Man at gmail.com. I'm also 800 Credit Score Man on Instagram as well as Facebook. Join my Facebook group, Credit Score Comeback. Join them as well. Join that Facebook group. You can catch me on Tumblr, 800 Credit Score Man there. And then on Twitter, I always follow you back on Twitter, and that's at Credit Score _Man on Twitter. All right, thank you guys. So let's get into a couple more shout outs, and we're going to finish out the charge offs and what you're supposed to do. That's what we're going to talk about at the second half of the show. What are you supposed to do for these charge offs? So I want to give a happy birthday shout out to Thomas Agnew. Happy birthday to you, Thomas. This man can sing his face off. Happy birthday to you. I refer to him and his wife, Keita, as the Calvary. And so if they're listening, they know what I'm talking about. So happy birthday to you, Thomas. I also want to give a happy birthday shout out to Puka. That is not his given name, but Puka, his real name is Renardo Berry. Happy birthday to you. I got to give a birthday shout out to Siobhan Miles as well. Happy birthday to you. All right, so let's jump back into what we're talking about today, which is charge-offs. Now, what do you want to do to have this charge-off removed from your credit report? You want to do some of the same things that I just told Tasha about. First off, if it's yours, you can negotiate directly with dealers. Since we were picking on dealers today, you want to go ahead and make sure that you negotiate directly with them, even if it's been sent to a collection. Call dealers anyway. You got the card in your wallet still. Turn around, look at that 800 number, call them, and see if you can talk to someone there. Oftentimes, they're still able to go ahead and talk to you directly, and they won't refer you out to the collection agency. So you want to do that. Now, if you start to negotiate with dealers, and dealers agrees to, take $500 for that $750 that you owe, or they're gonna say we'll take $300 of that $750 that you owe, and you do that, make sure that you have them contact the collection agency as well to let them know that you've paid. Now, oftentimes something falls through the cracks. They do not contact the collection agency. They don't let the collection agency know that you've paid and it's done and over with. That'll be your responsibility to do later. Now, you don't contact the collection agency directly. You're going to go through the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You're going to go through the credit bureaus and you're going to dispute the claim, saying that it's not yours. You do not owe that money. When they do when the credit bureaus contact the collection agencies, they should be being told that this account is paid in full and it's over and done with, and it should come off of your credit bureau. That's what you need to do if you're going to do that. Now, again, back to negotiations. You need to make sure that you negotiate with them for a lower amount, and you've got to stand up to your agreement. So if you say, I'm going to pay this by Friday, or I'm going to pay it tomorrow by 3 o'clock, make sure that you do that. Once you go ahead and make your agreement, you've got to hold up to your end of the bargain. If you fail to do so, they may decide they don't want to give you any money off or something of that nature. So make sure that you do that as well. Now, during your negotiation, you want to ask them, of course, to delete it from your credit report. You're going to ask them, I'm going to pay you. I want you to delete this from my credit report. Oftentimes, they'll agree. Sometimes they'll disagree to do so. But what you can do is send them a letter. Send them a letter, a pay for delete letter. You can send that to them, and hopefully it reaches the right hands, which will most likely have to be somebody that's a manager or somebody in a higher level position. You can go ahead and reach them that way. The person that answers the phone, let me tell you guys this. The person that answers the phone oftentimes doesn't have the authority, or they don't even know how that particular part works, if they can actually remove it or not. So ask to speak to a manager. If you made an agreement with the person on the phone with you, great. You made that agreement and they're going to take less money for you, great. Then you're going to be asking for them to go ahead and have it deleted from your credit report. And if they say no, or we can't do that, because you listen to the 800 Credit Score Man show every week, you know that is possible, and you want to speak to a manager. Of course, you still got to be nice. You still got to be kind to make sure that they're going to do that. You also, when they do agree to do it, you want to get that in writing. So you need to get it in writing. They can email you or they can send you a letter. However they want to do it, they know that if they're sending you a letter, you're not paying until you get your letter. So that's going to delay them getting their money. And you know how it works. If you say, okay, I'm going to pay you next Friday, or I'll pay you after I get my letter, they know next Friday come, you may not have that money. So they want to get it right away. Have them email it to you. Have them email it to you so you can have proof that they agreed to take it off your credit report, and they agreed to take, $350 or whatever it is that you guys decided was the negotiated amount. So make sure that you do that. So look, I want to start closing out the show right now. So I wanted you guys to know, if you have those kinds of collections, you've got to go ahead and charge off. You've got to go ahead, and it's okay to directly contact whoever that charge off is. In our example today, it was Dillage. I also want to do a couple of shout outs before we get out of here today as well. I want to shout out Michelle Smith. Michelle Smith celebrated her birthday earlier this week. I want to shout out Antoine Collins. That's my frat. That is my club. We were both 10s. He is a crooner extraordinaire. You guys go on YouTube. Look up Antoine Collins. That's Antoine Antoine Collins, and check him out as well. And then I got to give a big shout out to one of my other frat brothers as well, Ben Carter. He celebrated a birthday, and I saw a picture of him on Facebook when my man got an eagle when he was out getting his golf on. So happy birthday to you as well. So look, everybody, make sure today is July the 1st.